Start a business, buy a business. Which one should you do? I mean, there's all these decisions that you have to make, but why would you want to start? Why would you want to buy? Which one is better? Which one has more advantages? Which one has more disadvantages? Let's talk about that. Should I start a business or should I buy a business, right? Now, you hear all the things that all the people that are out there talking about startups. I get overwhelmed by all of the information that's out there about starting up a business, but I don't really hear a whole lot about buying a business. And so the question that I think that we should all be asking is, should I start one or should I buy one? Well, there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages of each one, and I've started so many businesses, more than I can count. I can tell you that a whole lot of those failed. I've bought a whole lot of businesses, again, more than I can count, and I can tell you that I don't remember any of those failing. So let's take a look a little bit deeper and see what we get. 90% of all startups will fail. Now, they're not going to fail immediately, but over time they do. Now, if you ask me, most of them probably should have failed a long time ago and they shouldn't be hanging around that long. But over time, 90% of all startups fail. As a matter of fact, 75% of the businesses that are funded by the super smart venture capitalists that are in Silicon Valley and all those cool places with MBAs and lawyers and Stanford graduates, right? They fail 75%. It's crazy, right?
That's impossible!
Here's something to think about. What about businesses that you buy? Well, I don't have a slide for this, but I can tell you that businesses that you acquire, that you buy, they only fail on average 2% of the time. So you got to ask yourself a question. Do I want to play the odds? Do I want to have a business that even the smartest people in the world are going to fail at 75% of the time and that most average people are going to fail 90% of the time? Or do I want one that has a 98% chance of success? That's the question. So there's a whole lot of advantages to acquiring a business versus starting one up. But I'm going to talk about 4 of the biggest ones right now. Let's dive in, okay? Number 1, there's less risk. Why is there less risk? Well, there's less risk because we've already got a business that's been going. It's already in business. Startups fail because they're unproven business models. One that is already existing, one that already is going, that's been there, it's got the benefit of proving that it can last, right? Right off the bat. So a whole lot less risk because you don't have to prove an unproven thing. Startups have like this hypothesis. I think people want to buy this thing. I think that the product market fit is going to be this. That doesn't exist when you are acquiring a business, that risk. You're going to have a way easier time because you know that it works.
It really works!
Okay, the second thing, number 2, more financing options. Look, I've been doing this for almost 40 years, crazy amount of time. I know I only look like I'm 20, but here's the deal. I've come up with 220 different ways to creatively finance a business with no money even out of pocket. Forget all the ways that require you to go to banks, to SBA, get government programs, go and raise money from investors and all that. You don't have to do that when you're acquiring a business. But there's so few options. So few when you're starting one up, right? So here's the deal. Do you want hundreds of options or do you want like 4, right? That's the difference with having the ability to get more financing. So the third advantage is established brand recognition, right? How many of you know what this is? Oh, what company is that, right? We all know. It's Tesla, right? No, it's Apple, right? Okay, and Nike. Nike, the swoosh, they say that the value of that swoosh is more than almost anything else on the planet. Crazy, crazy. And what about this? Chick-fil-A, right? So here's the cool thing. We recognize these brands by their logos. And when we've got a logo, we have loyalty. We have brand loyalty because they've spent literally billions of dollars convincing us that this represents something. Apple represents cool, right? You remember the old ads when there was the IBM not so cool person and the cool person that had Apple.
Didn't you make this?
Nike is motion, right? It's we're overcoming things, success, athletics. And Chick-fil-A is just the best daggone fast food fried chicken sandwich that you can get. So let's talk about brands that I think about when I'm looking to acquire something. So one of the brands that we acquired was Digital Marketer. Digital Marketer, in the space of people who want to learn about marketing, is a very well-known brand. It came with about 1 million people that were already on the list, that already trusted them to be the best. When I acquired Traffic and Conversion Summit, it was the leading digital marketing event in North America. When we acquired Big Block Realty, it was one of the leading 100% real estate, 100% commission brokerages on the planet. It had grown 36,000%. 36,000% was like on the number one in the Inc. fastest growing companies in that section. So those brands provide a tremendous advantage because they have built-in loyalty of the customers and the world knows about them. So you get to dive into that. You get to take advantage of that. You tap into that the moment that you make the acquisition. You don't have to be there for the years and years and years it takes to build that up. And that's a huge advantage. So let's talk about effort. Effort. How much does it take? How much energy do you have to put into this business that you're going to acquire? Well, if you're starting it up, it's 100% effort. There is nothing there. You literally start from scratch. That's why it's called a startup. But when you're acquiring a business, there's so much less effort. It's so much easier. Look, you get instant customers. They're already there. Because those customers are there, what are they doing? They're buying. That's why they're a customer, right? So you've got sales. When you've got sales, hopefully, if you've got a decent business model, you also have profits. You've also already got all of the contacts that you need to do everything. You don't have to put everything together. It's like, I want to start up a baking business. I don't know, who do I buy from? Who are my suppliers, right? I don't know any of those things. And I already have employees that hopefully are there that work. You worried about the Great Resignation? You don't have to worry about that. You've already got all the employees. These are the advantages of having a business that already exists and acquiring versus starting up. Okay, so let's summarize this, right? We talked about what are the 4 giant, huge advantages of acquiring a business versus starting one up from scratch. The first one, risk, right? Startup, not an advantage. Lots of risk. We don't know if it's going to work. 90% of them fail. 75% of the ones that the smart people start up fail. But our acquired businesses have a 98% chance of success. Only 2% of those ever go into default. Financing options, I mentioned, there's about 220 of them that I've come up with, right? Just me. There's a whole bunch of people that have come up with a whole bunch more. You have all of those available when you're acquiring. When you start up, not as many, right? Only a few. Really just banks, friends and family, and some angel investors. That's kind of it. Established brand. We talked about how Apple and Nike and Chick-fil-A have these brands that already have followings. If you get to acquire a brand that already has followings, that's going to rock. You've already got your businesses set. So not so much with a startup. Never heard of you guys. You need to spend some money to build brand awareness and effort. Lots and lots and lots of it with startup because there's literally nothing there when you start, and not so much because the acquired business is already successful, already proven business model, already got everything you need. Now, a 5th bonus thing, just let's talk about life fulfillment. For me, there's a check mark here, but to me, this is a big bang also because it's not so fulfilling to fail 9 out of 10 times. That's not very encouraging to me. I don't get motivated by failing, right? But you have kind of a built-in guaranteed success here over in the acquired business side. So that to me means that this side, all checks, all winning. This side, for me, all X's, not so winning, okay?